What's good? The Toronto Raptors lose by 54 points, the largest loss in Raptors history. No, wait, that was the last game. And what happened this game? The Toronto Raptors blew out the Boston Celtics. Oh, it was sweet to see. You know, you could feel the revenge coming from a mile away, right? The Raptors were playing good basketball, feeling good about themselves after beating the Golden State Warriors, playing some competitive defense. And yes, Immanual Quickley is still out, but let's be honest, this is about as healthy as the Raptors have been all season. They haven't had Immanual Quickley for most of the season anyway. And the Boston Celtics have been playing like crap. And there's no excuses. It doesn't matter if you're playing like crap. Until the next banner goes up, these are the defending champions. And if you could feel that energy from Scottie Barnes, yo, could you feel it? I'm going to jump ahead and assume that the internet is going to troll him mercilessly and that he's going to become a meme for pretty much, losing the ball while celebrating. But nevertheless, could you feel the energy? Could you feel his excitement for this? I'm happy for him. I'm happy for this team. This team has taken a lot. This team has taken a brutal lot of slander. Today on the Raptors show, Matt Bonner and Brian Scalabrine were contemplating what the Toronto Raptors would look like next year if they got Cooper flagged. And Scalabrine said, y'all in the playoffs. You guys are comfortably in the playoffs. And Matt Bonner, who has allegedly or presumably watched this team every single night this year, said, no, it won't be that close. And he compared the situation of Wemby coming to the Spurs to Cooper coming to the Raptors. And Brian Scalabrine pushed back really hard. And that clip went pretty viral all over TikTok. And it got me thinking, how little do people think of this team? How little do people think of this team? And it's crazy to me how the narrative changes with one win or one loss. The narrative around Scottie Barnes has been negative. He doesn't deserve to be an all-star this year because he's not on a good team. His numbers don't look great. The narratives around RJ Barrett, trade him. He's trade fodder. He's a total bum. I thought he played pretty competitively tonight. And the narratives around Jakob Poeltl, a lot of these players, unfortunately, when you lose a lot of games, your players suffer the brunt of it because it's the players who are going out losing games. It's not organizations that lose games, allegedly. It's the players. It's the players out there. And with 2 wins against 2 of the last 3 defending champions, including a finals MVP in Steph Curry, very similar games. Very similar games. The opposing team can't hit a shot. The opposing star kind of looks a little bit muted. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum did not play tonight. They did not play well tonight. They did not look like the best players on the court. And if you ask the average NBA media pundit, who is the best player on the court going into this game, they would have told you Jason Tatum. Then they would have told you Jaylen Brown. Then they probably would have told you Drew Holiday or Derek White. And then maybe they would have come to Scottie Barnes. Scottie Barnes certainly looked like the best player on the court tonight for me. All right. The Raptors, 97, and they held the Boston Celtics to 15 points in the fourth quarter. The Celtics took 3 after 3 after 3 and could not make one. Scottie, for all of my shit talk, he had only 18 points and 9 assists, but man, it was impactful. His defense was impactful. Him sitting in the gaps, the number of times he deflected a pass, the number of times he found someone open, the number of times that, early on, the Raptors missed him routinely when he had a guard sealed underneath the basket. The Raptors did not play perfect basketball tonight. And, I'll apologize in advance. The film breakdown is not going to be super thorough tonight because I was just absorbed in this game. I hate to say it. Yeah, I'm a fan of this team. I covered this team, but I'm also a fan of this team. And I was just so absorbed in this game that I didn't even really feel like clipping too much. I was just like, no, every time I clip something, then I have to go back, then I have to cut it up, then I have to post it, and I lose fractions of a second of my involvement in the game. No, tonight I was just a fan. I was just a fan watching my team, supporting my team, loving my team, and it felt really good. It felt really good. And yeah, there are tank implications, but let's just not talk about that tonight. Let's not talk about that tonight. The Raptors beat the defending champions, a team that beat them by 54 points, mercilessly held them to 75 points It was the talk of the entire media space. This is embarrassing. If you noticed, prior to losing to the Celtics, I'll remove this for a second. Prior to losing to the Celtics, all the talk was about ethical tanking. All of the talk. But suddenly you lose to the Celtics by 54 points, and suddenly it's doomsday. Everyone's like, "Oh my god. Oh my god, this is the worst team in franchise history." Oh, how quickly the narrative swings when you lose a game by a lot of points. Anyways, overall, the Celtics played like shit, and I got to be honest, they played like shit last game too. They nearly lost to the New Orleans Pelicans at home in Boston, and the Pelicans may actually win tonight as well. So, good news for the tank if you're the Toronto Raptors. And by the way, Golden State is blowing out Minnesota. So, what is going on? Maybe this is the good luck charm. You need to lose to the Raptors, and then you figure out your season. So maybe Golden State just figured out their season, or maybe Minnesota is due for a slump. Minnesota's not playing great basketball. There's a lot of teams that are they're just not playing great basketball. And it's very easy to be seduced into thinking that a team is trash because they lose by a lot of points. But this is the new NBA. We are in an NBA where our teams take a lot of threes. And if you take a lot of threes, you're going to occasionally get blown out. The Celtics shot 36 for 91. Half of their shots, half were from three. They took 91 shots. Okay, almost a little bit more than half. 46 of their shots were from three. They shot 34.8% from three, and they shot 39.6% from the field. The Raptors, on the other hand, shot 50.6% from the field. The Celtics defense was trash tonight. Trash is it's an understatement. And it's trash because they were always in transition. When you miss this many shots, and the Celtics missed a lot of shots and a lot of them long, and you don't recover and you don't get back, you're constantly disorganized. The Raptors out rebounded the Celtics, even though there was that one possession where it felt like the Celtics got what felt like a million rebounds on one possession. You take that possession out, the Raptors clobbered them on the glass. The Raptors out assisted them. And this is where I say big kudos to Scottie Barnes for setting the table for his team. The first play of the game was what? A corner three on a pitch out from Scottie Barnes to Davion Mitchell. The second one, a Scottie three. The third one, I think, was something else, maybe even RJ bucket. And then the fourth one was Scottie pitching it out in navigating the pick and roll and then dishing it to Grady. The Raptors led big early. They were up 15-5. And quite frankly, they were never really out of this game at all. Like, you always felt like there was the potential that the Celtics might wake up at some point, but they didn't. They didn't wake up. They stayed connected. It was around 5 to 7 points, 6 points, 8 points, 10 points. But eventually the Raptors broke it open in the middle of the third. And yeah, it was connected. 44-43. Okay, the Celtics led by a bit, then 46-44. Every time the Celtics led by a little bit, the Raptors had a response. Chris Boucher did not have a super hot game, but I thought he had an impactful game. He crashed the glass. He was energetic. He had a crazy turnover and, in transition. And, there were a lot of miscues tonight for the Raptors. Jamal Shead had 3 turnovers. RJ Barrett had a couple of ungodly turnovers, like really terrible turnovers. But RJ had damn near triple-double tonight. 22 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Most of it was just within the scheme. Attacking empty side, just attacking a late closeout. Celtics kind of disorganized on their closeout. He gets to the rim. He got to the line 4 times, missed 3 of his free throws. All cool. Again, nobody cares about these things. Like, if you lose this game, everyone's talking about, oh, Scottie had 3 rebounds. Oh, RJ and Scottie missed so many free throws, or RJ missed so many free throws. When you win games, people don't care about this stuff. And that's where winning and losing skews our perspective of the game so much. I am obviously not, I am not under any illusion that the Raptors beat the best version of the Celtics tonight. But I don't think the Celtics faced the best version of the Raptors tonight. I think the Raptors can play a hell of a lot better than they played today. I mean, I want to be very, very for real when I say that. I think the Raptors can play better than what they played today. This is the team that I expected walking into this season. And just mind you, because we are such prisoners of the moment, when the Raptors got clamped by the Celtics and got blown out by 54 points, where were the people talking about the fact that the Raptors actually took this very same Celtics team, the defending champions, when they were relatively healthy, to overtime without Scottie Barnes? So you had your best player out, and you took that team to overtime and lost on a Jason Tatum buzzer beater that, by the way, should have been called a travel. Come on now. Come on now. MEF saying very optimistic for you to say that, Rob. I'm not kidding. I think the Raptors can play better than this. I don't know. Ryan saying Scottie had such bad luck on the boards. Everything bounced the opposite direction. Agreed. No, he was very locked in on the perimeter. We will definitely talk about certain Scottie Barnes specific things, but let's talk about everybody else tonight. Jakob Poeltl, I thought he had a pretty dominant game, man. He was very efficient. Well, as efficient as you possibly could be. 8 for 8 from the field, everything around the rim, 3 offensive rebounds, 1 putback on that Scottie Barnes blown layup. I thought he was just phenomenal, right? Davion Mitchell, very efficient, hit both of his threes, which continues a trend, which, by the way, if we look at Davion Mitchell's splits, just give me 1 second here. Let me just show you what I mean. Look at what he's shooting. So he started the season out shooting 26.3%, right? November comes, he's shooting 29.5%. Now, sum total in November and October, he had played 20 games. December starts, he was shooting cold again. And then he started to see his minutes cut back. However, December, he shot 40.7%. Now, January, he hasn't played a lot, in fairness. So he's shooting 25% again. But I have noticed that since December 1st, he has shot much better from 3 than he did prior to December 1st. So I am not under any illusions that Davion is about to turn into a sniper or turn into some great player or even someone that the Raptors should be building with, because I definitely vastly prefer Jamal Shed. And I think Shed played better tonight as well. However, the wall up on Peyton Pritchard, brilliant. The setting the tone energetically, brilliant. Some of the leadership, very good. The playmaking with Yak and the pick and roll, very good. Led the team in plus minus, very good. And honestly, like, his defense was a game changer for the Raptors tonight, and only 1 turnover. Very good. Overall, very good. Grady Dick making the shots early, struggled a little bit late. Raptors lost a lot of they lost guys a lot defensively. Like, there was a lot of backdoor cuts. I think Davion was participating in that 2 times, 3 times. There were like backdoor cuts, or he just loses his man off the ball, fails to rotate. Bruce Brown had a heavy share of that as well. We finally saw Jamison Battle play. Did not play well. Missed both of his threes. Am I crazy, or does Jamison Battle's form look different? I'm not sure what I was seeing, or if I need to go and study the film a little bit, but Jamison Battle's form looked a little bit different, and he was out after 4 minutes. He came in, took two threes, got cooked on defense once where Scottie plugged the gap, and then we're going to look at that play. And he never came back again. Bruce Brown missed a lot of shots, fouled the three-point shooter again, and overall hustled on the glass. I think he was great on the glass. He was, very relentless. I think, just around the rim, he was just engaged. Like, he was engaged. Ochai Agbaji needed to get stitches because his hand was cut, either extending for the ball, falling for the ball, or hitting the ball. I've never seen that in my life. I played basketball my whole life. I've never had a ball hit my hand so hard that my hand started to bleed. So I'm going to be very curious to see what the injury update is on that. But he did get stitches on what I presume to be his right hand. So you can expect him to miss some time, which sucks for the Raptors because he balled out against Golden State. And, again, injuries disrupt rhythm for any young player. Jamal Shed, again, continues to impress so much. Hits multiple threes again, including a step back with 3 defenders. 1 defender was Luke Cornett. Okay. Defender number 2 was a shot clock, and defender number 3 was a sideline. And by the way, defender number 4 was the baseline. So he had pretty much in the corner, and we're going to take a look at that shot. That was crazy. From the Boston Celtics side, not impressed with Jason Tatum. Not impressed with Jaylen Brown. Not impressed with Derek White. Not impressed with Kristaps Porzingis, other than his shot making, which was crazy, and the Raptors lost him on 3, and that pretty much kept the Celtics in the game, right? Not impressed with Jrue Holiday. Not impressed with Sam Hauser. Very impressed with Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard balled out. Peyton Pritchard was awesome. He really disrupted Scottie's rhythm. He competed hard. Peyton Pritchard deserves player of the game for the Celtics. Once again, he's awesome. Like, I don't know. I know he's not available, but he should be starting. He should be starting for somebody. He is really freaking good. Al Horford off the bench, phenomenal, job defending. He had 4 blocks, including a block on Chris Boucher for the 3. That was very impressive. 21 minutes of play. But I just think Jaylen Brown destroyed that team today. Turnovers, just stupid plays, really just low basketball IQ. Getting ripped by RJ Barrett, who is by no one's definition a good defender at all, is crazy work. I don't think I've ever seen RJ Barrett rip an all-star like that. I mean, granted, I didn't watch every RJ game in New York, but getting ripped like that, like it could happen to anybody. But yeah, Jaylen Brown is he's not that good. He's not that good. Recruiter Brown, I'm noticing a trend where players are flinching at the prospect of facing Scottie within the perimeter and are instead choosing to pass out instead of trying their luck. Scottie is quietly menacing. He is. And today, his energy could be felt through the TV screen. If you were at the game, I hope you became a Scottie Barnes fan. If you didn't walk into it a Scottie Barnes fan, I hope you became a Scottie Barnes fan, because his energy was what drove this win. In my humble opinion, RJ executed, yes. Jakob executed, yes. Off the bench, Chris Boucher brought a lot of energy, yes. Right? But if you're going to slander him for every loss, make sure to give him a little bit of credit when he plays well in a win. And I think even if the box score isn't super impressive, I think he commanded the game really well. There was a point in the game, Asian Ball 4, again with the super chat. You were here last time too with the Cade Cunningham super chats. Appreciate you. Can we take a moment and appreciate how everyone in the 2021 draft class is popping off right now? Yes, sir. So I was on the panel today and kept a very different energy towards Cade Cunningham specifically. And, I just want to say, watching Cade do what he did in the second half against New York, watching Jalen Green go off that night as well for 42 points, watching what Evan Mobley has done this year, even though there have been a lot of conversations about Scottie and Paolo in the offseason, and to be completely honest, I was very, very dismissive of Paolo as a prospect overall when it came to superstar talks. Thought he was very overrated. I thought he was very inefficient, and I know tonight he got clamped up by the Milwaukee Bucks, but I've been thoroughly impressed by him. I don't know if everyone is cooking in the 2021 draft class. I don't want to throw any shade. Alperen Şengün is one of my favorite young players in the league, but he is not cooking right now. He's looking quite bad, but I hope tonight he has a good bounce back game. But yes, it is quite crazy how quickly we jump to assumptions about prospects, right? How quickly we are, willing to just say this person has no bag, this person has no bag, this person is this person is that. And, I'm certainly no stranger to it. I wrote Malachi Flynn off very early in his career. I certainly have written off prospects like Cade, Jalen, way too early. And you know what? This year, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think Cade's playing like an all-star. And had Paolo and Franz remained healthy, I think they played like all NBA players. I was also on record last year saying that Scottie Barnes, early 31 games into the season, was playing like an all NBA player. So it's really not one versus the other. Obviously, if you're going to ask me, I'll prefer Scottie 10 times out of 10. People can say I'm crazy, but I am very much more. I respect this, all those Scottie conversations, Scottie versus Jalen Suggs. I started hating on Jalen Suggs. Now I've actually been singing Jalen Suggs praises for 2 years now. So again, I'm not I'm not the quickest to change, but I'm not unwilling to change. Okay, let's take a look at the film. And if you want to call in. The link is in the description. Also, I should mention this podcast is brought to you by the Penn Dance Film Festival. And the Penn Dance Film Festival is coming up February 27th to 29th in Toronto, downtown Toronto, and it is going to be lit. And there is a basketball documentary about the state of Minnesota, which is so cool. And it's coming to your city for the first time. And I hope y'all will definitely come check that out. And there's a lot of great films. There's going to be over 60 films at Penn Dance this year. And can't wait to see y'all. So that's February 27th to March 2nd. Okay. All right. Okay, this was stupid. I said I missed the days when RJ Barrett was good at home and bad on the road. Well, RJ Barrett was really good at home today. So immediately when I said that, he popped off. Okay, that's awesome. So first video, Scottie Barnes cooking the Celtics. Look at the manipulation in the pick and roll here. This is awesome. This is awesome. Okay. These are two. So the Celtics employ 4.5 great defenders. Okay. KP, for what he does, is a great defender. Al Horford off the bench is a great defender. Peyton Pritchard is a very good defender. Derek White's a great defender. Jason Tatum's a great defender. Jaylen Brown's an okay defender. I don't rate his defense that much. Drew Holiday's a great defender. So again, there's nothing to attack here if the Celtics are locked in. So here, Jason Tatum is going to go and try to gamble on Scottie a little bit. Scottie is going to just snake a little bit, and then boom, no look to Grady Dick, widest open shot ever, and Grady is going to hit that, which I thought was just brilliant. That's brilliant. That's exactly how you want to navigate in the pick and roll. And earlier on, I mentioned that Scottie had found Davion for a wide open three. Well, this time the Celtics don't communicate. Look at that. It's Jaylen Brown, and Scottie Barnes is going to find an open three for himself. And the Raptors led very early 6-0. And that's when you knew you were in for one of those special nights, right, from this team, because they do let you know very early in the game, are we actually in it? This is the aforementioned play by Jamal Shead. Now take a look at the difficulty on this. This is crazy. Now, the context of this play is that just prior to this play, Ochai Agbaji had been blocked on a three-point attempt by either Sam Hauser or by Luke Cornett. I can't remember who blocked him, but they reset. Short shot clock situation. There's 4.2 seconds left on the clock. Now, Ochai Agbaji is a really good young player. This game made me question his basketball IQ a couple times. I'm not throwing shade at Ochai. I love Ochai. But there's a couple of plays tonight where I'm like, what's he doing? This is one of those plays. Now, Jamal Shead into the corner, not a great shooter historically. Short clock situation. You're putting him in a really bad situation here. Really bad situation. Credit to Jamal Shead for knowing the clock, where it is, having that internal clock in his own head. 2.4 seconds left on the clock. Look at that. This is a guy who could barely shoot, hitting a buzzer-beating three over a 7-footer, going away, fading away, step back. The efficiency rate on those shots, short clock, off the dribble, corner. I can't tell you that there might be a less efficient shot in the NBA. It's one of the it's one of the lowest efficiency shots, and one of the most lowest efficiency. Wow, I'm having trouble speaking today. What's going on with me? One of the lowest efficiency shots. Efficiency. Wow. Sorry, something is happening to me right now. I'm not really sure what the hell's going on here. It is one of the lowest efficiency shots. There we go. In the league. And okay, let's check this out. Okay, so Jameson Battle's going to get cooked here. He gets blown by Jaylen Brown. Scottie, boom, cover. Hands up. Scottie did this a lot tonight. Every pass, you could see his arms were eagle, right? And this is called using your 7'4" wingspan, right? If your arms are down, it doesn't matter what your wingspan is. Okay? And boom, late rotation, right? So here, Bruce Brown, a little bit late here on that rotation. Luckily for the Raptors, there's a miss here. Sam Hauser is going to tip this away towards Bruce Brown, but Bruce Brown is just going to, oops, and it's going to go. Now, that's a backcourt violation. Hang on. I want to make sure that's a backcourt violation. Yes, that is a backcourt violation. Unfortunately, because Bruce Brown decides to jump into Kristaps Porzingis and knock him over, it is called a foul. That was unfortunate. And you think about plays like that and you're like, whatever, it's one play. It's not one play. Those types of plays actually break your back because they are momentum swingers and they feel like a break for the other team. Basketball is very superstitious sport. Okay, I'm really slurring my words here. I'm kind of getting worried about myself here now. Okay, here RJ is going to guard up And you can see the effort. The effort is really here for RJ Barrett. Like, this is awesome, right? Kelly Olynyk participating, and Davion Mitchell just gets lost. Now, again, watch Davion the entire time. So you're watching the pressure from RJ Barrett, which is great. You're watching the connection and the communication from Grady Dick, which is great. You're watching this sort of just sitting with, one step towards the paint from Grady and Chris, but in position to recover to the shooter. So everything is all right. All Davion has to do is stay with Drew Holiday. You cannot lose him. And he does this way too often. He gets very fixated on the ball. And unfortunately, as much as I don't think Jaylen Brown is a great passer, he's good enough to make the pass over a 6-footer. And credit to Drew Holiday for reading this all the way through. The scouting report is on Davion Mitchell that he is not a good off-ball defender, even though he has denied this multiple times. And boom, like how do you get so lost and this wide open? So that was a very, very tough possession. Very tough possession. Did I get the RJ rip? What? Oh, there we go. Did I not even talk about this? Here we go. I knew I was missing a play. Here we go. So this is the RJ rip. Again, I have been very critical of Jaylen Brown, even though I think he's a really, really smart dude and I love his off-court, everything about him off-court. On the court drives me crazy sometimes. And it's because of plays like this, just low efficiency plays. And he is not what people think he is. I know he won Finals MVP. I get it. He's playing with the best talent in the world. Don't let it fool you. I do not think Jaylen Brown is a superstar at all. I think he's a 4-time All-Star, 5-time All-Star type of guy. I think like he reminds me a lot of Pascal Siakam. There's just conversations he gets put in that drive me crazy. But okay, here. Similarly, RJ Barrett stripped a Finals MVP. Watch this. Jakob Poeltl is going to strip the guy who probably should have won Finals MVP, and that is Jason Tatum. Just strips him like a baby, takes it away, throws it to Ochai, and this is play number 7 of Ochai Agbaji might not have the basketball IQ that I was hoping he would. Now, if you're Ochai, the last thing you need to do right now, here's what should happen here. Okay? Here's what should happen, and here's what happened. I believe what should happen is that Ochai should slow down a little bit, and this would allow either him to get an open 3 or RJ to get an open dunk, right? Because Kristaps Porzingis is kind of gapping the middle between these two guys. Unfortunately, what's going to happen, he's going to drive sort of at Kristaps Porzingis, and RJ Barrett then loses the window. Now, what happened first? Did Ochai start driving first? Did he go too far? Did RJ stop short? I don't know. But you make this too easy. And RJ Barrett is not some sort of, knockdown corner shooter. He's not a knockdown catch and shoot shooter. And so I don't think that this is the efficiency play that you're looking for. And unfortunately, I understand you're afraid to attack a 7'2" guy at the rim who's a really good shot blocker and a really good rim defender, but you cannot have a 3-on-1 break end with an RJ Barrett 3, especially one that is contested. So you project this pass, which gives Horford the time to recover. He takes this shot, which is probably the right move at this point. But this is unfortunately what happens when you have Davion Mitchell on the floor, because Davion is not finishing over Kristaps Porzingis. Ochai needs to do one of two things. Either he needs to go further before he makes this pass. Cannot make this pass early. You give too much time to the help to recover. So, he starts projecting this pass right here. And this is where Al Horford reads it. And then you can see Al Horford is immediately doing a beeline over to RJ Barrett. But you need to attack Kristaps Porzingis, bump into him, and then make the pass to RJ, and then he would be open. So you can do that, or you slow down, you allow RJ to cut behind Kristaps Porzingis, and you throw the lob. There are different things that a basketball player can do to milk this advantage. This is the worst possible outcome. A contested 3 for RJ Barrett is not it. I would rather he attack Kristaps Porzingis and try to go into his body. Just not good. Okay. We talk about potential assists all the time. Scottie Barnes is top 15 in the league in potential assists. And yeah, this was one of them. And unfortunately, somehow this goes through Ochai's hand, and Ochai Agbaji is going to immediately start bleeding. Now, I don't know if he started bleeding because he hit his hand on the floor. That would be weird. Again, I've seen it happen. Or if maybe what happened, and again, I'm speculating, is that when he was trying to grab the basketball right here, hold on one second, try to freeze it. Okay, so let me slow this down and let's see if we can see what happened, because they tried on the broadcast, but it was a little bit hard. Okay, so here's the pass. Is it possible that it just goes through his hand to the point where it moves like the element, between your finger and your hand actually just got ripped? I have no idea. I've never seen something like that happen before. He did have to leave the game, and that did result in a turnover for the Raptors. I believe that was one of Scottie's turnovers, so that was counted as Scottie's turnover, and then the turnover at the end was counted for his turnover. Other than those two turnovers, I believe, again, if I'm not mistaken, hang on, did that count as a turnover for Scottie? Or did that count as a turnover for Ochai? I am inclined to believe that counted as a turnover for Scottie. I think that counted as a turnover for Scottie. Anyways, it's also possible that when Pritchard was reaching, that it could have been Pritchard's nail or something like that. I have no idea. Nevertheless, as we mentioned, it's these potential assists. Grady bricks one. Someone drops an open layup. He passes to Yak, but then Yak decides not to make the shot, but rather to pass the shot. There's small things like that that can cost you assists. But Scottie Barnes has 13.1 potential assists per game, and that actually, just so we're clear, is higher than Luka Doncic. Just so we're clear on that, right? That's a lot of potential assists, and that's not a guy who handles the ball as much as Luka. He doesn't have Luka's usage. He's just a very special passer. And here, Jaylen Brown is going to get cooked. Also, have y'all noticed that the Toronto media has started using the word cooked a lot? So I know that I use it way more because I'm on the panel, but I'm curious why the Toronto media suddenly started using that a lot. I mean, I'm seeing Josh Lewenberg saying cooked. I'm like, what? Where'd that happen? Huh? How did cook culture enter Josh Lewenberg's kitchen? I did not realize that. Okay. Okay. Here. Lazy ass defense from Jason Tatum. I'm gonna stop calling Jason Tatum a good defender. No, I'm just kidding. Jason Tatum is a good defender, but this is just terrible defense by him. You need to get up. The Celtics look like they were just, we're here to collect a paycheck, right? It's just bullshit. Anyways, okay. Here comes another one. This was, for some people at least, the play of the night. And this is Scottie Barnes attacking the so-called good defender, Jaylen Brown, manipulating the defense. See, this is when we say manipulate. Where's he looking? He's looking to the top. Where is he actually going to pass? See, y'all, sometimes people joke about Scottie's no-look passes, right? They have a jokey way of approaching it. They don't talk about them like, y'all understand. He opens up Jakob Poeltl with this. If he looks at Yak, this pass is getting picked off, right? If he looks back at Davion, this pass is getting picked off. There's just no way. There's no angle. You're in the air already. So clearly, you can pass to the top. You have to misdirect them and then send it where they're not looking. And that's what happened. Boom. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. You remember 2 games ago when Cade Cunningham missed that dunk? Yeah. That's going to happen again tonight. Now, Scottie Barnes is going to get really hype. Saw him do this a lot in his youth, man. This is Montverde Scottie, FSU Scottie. I don't know if Scottie Barnes is like, all right, I'm leading my team to the playoffs. I'm done with losing. But I mean, it feels a little bit late for that at this point. It does. But, you put together 7, 8 wins. Don't look now. The Raptors are right back in the thick of the play in. Like I hate to say it, but it's true. I don't think I think the door has sort of passed for that. The window has passed. You're not going to continue playing bad teams. But I think the Celtics were 14.5 point favorites to win this game. Like, do you understand? Like 14.5 points. That's basically Vegas telling you you have no shot at winning this game. Your odds of winning this game are like one in 1,000. So the fact that the Raptors beat this team healthy when they themselves were not healthy is pretty interesting. Okay, Scottie's going to clap up, and then boom, immediately the screen from Cornette gets Scottie off. Bruce Brown decides to just run away, and then Chris Boucher is going to get away with a little bit of a foul, and Jason Tatum so upset because someone touched his arm. Finish that, man. He needs to finish that. He needs to go up a little bit stronger. Chris Boucher is not Shaquille O'Neal. All right. Okay. Daryl with my favorite comment of the day. The fact that Scottie has this energy in January on a 10-31 team is a great omen for future leadership. I agree. But your devil's advocate is going to say, why didn't he have that? Why didn't he have this same energy in October? Right. So, nevertheless, I've always said Scottie gets up for the big games. He always gets up for the Boston Celtics. He always gets up for the teams that he respects, the Lakers in Los Angeles. That's a game that he's always going to, dominate against other all-stars, against Luka, against, you remember how well he played against Jokic. Every time he's played against Jokic, he's played well. So again, this is a guy who, when he sees an opposing star, when he sees an opposing wing that he respects, and clearly he respects the Boston Celtics and he respects Jason Tatum and all that Jason Tatum is, when he sees a Steph Curry, those are the games where he wants to get those games. He wants to win those games. He wants to prove to a Giannis Antetokounmpo, who he locked down, by the way, and no one has done anything close to that since. He wants to prove to those guys that I'm legit. I'm like you. I'm going to be better than you one day. And so I love that he takes these things personally. And again, when you orient a team's focus towards winning, something really weird happens. They start winning. What did the Spurs do? They came out and they said, we're not losing anymore. We're winning now. And suddenly everyone became a winning player. Huh, it's funny how that happened. You think Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul are that good? I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong, but those guys were available for second round picks. So it's not that complicated. When your organization wants to win, the players feel it. When your organization wants to lose, the players feel it. I love this move. Kristaps Porzingis is not an easy defender to score on. I've seen plenty of great isolation guards and wings try to do this shit against Kristaps Porzingis and just get blocked up. So here, Scottie, just one jab step, and then boom. And then I love that sort of misdirection where he sort of stops and then does it again. That's something that he has struggled with his entire career to date. And I just think that that is something that is really going to unlock him to the next level because he's not necessarily the most explosive athlete. He's not someone who routinely is going to blow by his guy on just pure verve and pure athleticism and quickness. And so he needs to get that sort of stop and go stuff that Shea has, that DeMar has, that Paul Pierce had. He needs to work on that. Okay. Scottie Barnes, right over Kristaps Porzingis. Again, 7'3" doesn't matter because the jump shot is quick enough, high enough, and frankly, repeatable enough that is going in at a ridiculous clip. Scottie, once again, like look at what I'm saying. Everything he did was in this zone. Everything he's been doing this month is in this zone. People want him to stop shooting threes. I could definitely fight against that, but look at this. This is unguardable. This is unguardable. There's nothing you can do about this. There's nothing Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. There's nothing anybody can do about that. Again, 94-108. Who the hell saw this coming? Wait a second. Not show that first. Okay, I deliberately just for any of you who watch this live, I deliberately cut this out because I don't need any more Scottie trolls in the world. But just take a look at this. Super excited. He was so happy, right? Just like, yo, he's trying to big up the fans. He feels for the fans. Definitely he knows, like, shoot, like And what's really funny is right there. That's when he lost the ball. So, star stat Kratos said, "Rob, glad you didn't let that video of Scottie hyping up the crowd go a second further." Yup. I and Idris saying Scottie looked like the Vince Carter meme here. He really did. Let's go. He had that energy, and I loved it. And take a listen to this. I mean, it feels great. It feels great. I'm very, very happy for this team. Obviously, it's impossible to root for a team and not want them to accomplish their goals. They wanted to win this game. And I made a promise to y'all in the off season: win, lose, draw, don't complain. I'm not going to complain about wins. I'm not going to complain about losses. This is not irreparable damage to the tank or anything like that. You weren't supposed to win this game, sure, but as I mentioned earlier, you were not supposed to be this bad. Under no circumstances were you supposed to be this bad. I think most people, by the most generous estimations, had us as like the tank people had us as maybe a 17 or 18 win team right now at the 41 game mark, maybe 14 on the lowest side. 10 10 and 31 in your first 40. I think if I told people that in October, they would have told me I was crazy. In fact, 10 and 31 massively underperforms the over under that Vegas set for the Raptors at, I believe, 23.5. Now, wait, initially the Raptors over under was 29.5 or 30.5? 30.5. 30.5. If I'm not mistaken, the Raptors over under was 30.5. So they're underperforming that over under by quite a bit. However, it's also worth noting that a few weeks ago, their over under had moved to 23.5. And I do think that it is worth noting that beating a team like Boston, beating a team like Golden State, two teams that you would have otherwise scheduled as losses coming into this season, I think this can skew the calculus a little bit because now you're losing grace. And we all know that you're going to beat the Washington Wizards 4 times or 3 out of 4. And we all know that there's a win against Charlotte, who just traded Nick Richards today. So I don't know. Jacoby Walter did not play tonight. That seemed like a glaring omission from the lineup. Did the Raptors want to win this game? Was this Chris Boucher's last game? I think that's the bigger question to be had here. Are the Raptors doing what the Nets did, which is showing the league that, hey, we're winning. Okay, we're winning. And Military Man, Pen, am I the only one who noticed the floor raising Scottie has? It's crazy. Once Scottie plays good, the whole team plays good. Yes, and Bruce Brown. I don't know what Bruce Brown has to do with anything, but interesting. I think when he's engaged defensively, it's very infectious. Not Donald Fagan says, I always like before the stream starts, but I unsub if Rob says an F word. Huh? I say the F word all the time. Are you not a subscriber anymore? I'm sorry. That's funny. Okay. I don't know if we're beating Washington 4 times. Remember, you can't talk about basketball without talking about Kyle Kuzma. LOL. Well, Kyle Kuzma might be in China by the time we face the Washington Wizards. Joshua Avery saying yes, the F word. Fred Van Vliet. Okay. Arham saying time to sign Malik Williams. Ah, the good old days, like bringing back the crew. It's like the Avengers, but for tanking purposes. No, as I said, like Stat Kratos pronounces as Socrates. Is it you? Okay. MEF saying, I think Scottie playing good helps the team, but you can say the same for every Raptor. I don't know if you can say the same for every Raptor. I think there are certain players that just carry a little bit of a larger energy to them. They, when they're dialed in emotionally, when they're picking up full court, they have a more significant impact on the defense. And yeah, I mean, I've certainly seen Scottie dial it up defensively and nobody help him. I've seen that. I've also seen Scottie not play super well, and I've seen the team play super well. So it's not a absolute the team goes as Scottie goes. They're able to withstand a poor Scottie Barnes game and absolutely win this game. I don't necessarily even think he played super well. I just think he was super impactful. Like I think he can be so much better than this. And speaking to the point of why he didn't play super well, two things. Uh, Give me 1 second. And yes, I am enjoying one of those Jack Armstrong beverages. I, yeah, this was one of those games. I had to, have a cold one with this one, saying let's go. Okay, I didn't know there was such an advocation for alcohol, but yes. Anyways, Kaminsky, um, Oak Tree saying Stella. I also did not know that there was such an advocation for Stella Artois. Yeah, I mean, cheers to you guys. I mean, cheers to the Boston Celtics. Y'all not repeating. Hold on. Let's do some cheers. Okay, number one, cheers to the Toronto media. Enjoy one. Scottie Barnes is going to be dancing on your grave very, very soon. Number two, cheers to the Boston Celtics. Y'all probably aren't making the finals, but if you do make the finals, you're getting clamped up by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's see who else. Who else we? Okay, give me some salutes. Give me some shit to cheer for. Oh, I got a big one. Yo, salute to Dennis Schroeder, who fumbled the bag not once, but twice. The first time it was on him. This time it was on the Nets. Dennis Schroeder was about to get paid so hard based on how he was playing this year. Watching him right now in Golden State, he might not get as much money as he's making right now. So cheers to Dennis Schroeder. Who else we doing cheers to? Yes. Cheers to the 2025 draft class. I hope we will be welcoming one of you to our ranks very, very soon. Hopefully, one of you from Maine. Hopefully, one of you who just dropped 42 points, and hopefully, one of you who is projecting to be a superstar. However, if it's not that guy, hopefully, it's a great one, right? Okay, military man. Appreciate the enthusiasm. A little early for that, but yes. Cheers to Jamal Shed, who has been absolutely incredible and gives me shades of Kyle Lowry literally every time I watch him play, defensively, offensively, when he talks, how he thinks. Even that clip of him picking up the trash, my first thought was Kyle would have done something like that for sure. Kyle was such a great person, such a caring and empathetic person. Prickly, sure, coach killer, all the reputation, whatever, little bit cagey, but a really good heart. And you could always feel it. And so, yeah, cheers to Jamal Shed. Cheers to Ulrich Shamshe, who has been rocking it in the G League. Amazing. Just been amazing. Cheers to Jonathan Mobo, who has fallen out of the rotation a little bit, but I believe in you very, very much. And I think you're going to be a beast defensively. And, I think by the end of the season, we're going to be talking about Jonathan Mobo very, very differently. Big cheers to Grady Dick on a huge bounce back after the Toronto media basically swore that you were a bust because you struggled in the G League last year. You proved everybody wrong. Cheers to Ochai Abaji, who, frankly, I'm gonna knock my camera off. Honestly, I just keep cheering like a crazy person. But cheers to Ochai Abaji, who I wrote off, admittedly, after being very high on him at the draft. Very high on him because I'd heard so many talks about Masai Ujiri's connection to him. And I was like, man, I wonder if he falls to the Raptors. And then, of course, when he won a national title, I was like, okay, he's not falling to the Raptors. We traded away a first-round pick. It's not going to happen. It's been very, very good to see him. When we traded for him with Utah, I was very excited. I was very excited. I was not even, I never, ever, if you remember, said, oh, we gave up too much. But then I saw him last season. I was like, oh, boy, we might have given up too much. We might want that pick back. And seeing Ochai this year has been great. It's been a revelation, and I'm very, very happy for him. Cheers to Davion Mitchell. All the shit that was talked, all the back and forths, all the beef. Actually, cheers to Davion Mitchell and Chris Boucher, actually, because they both clap back on X and they're both balling out of their minds right now. They're both playing well. And I think they've both been a really, really huge part of what has gone right for the Raptors. So big cheers to Chris Boucher and cheers to Darko Rajakovic and his coaching staff. You are going to take a lot of slander from this media space, but don't worry. Don't worry about it. You're going to take a lot of slander from a lot of casuals in this fan base. Don't worry about it. Stick to your principles. These people have never known what they were talking about. They don't know what they're talking about right now, but please keep developing those young players. And please keep developing our draft picks in years to come. It's been a revelation and a beautiful thing to watch. Beautiful basketball being played in Toronto, even though it's not resulting in a lot of winning over the last 2 years. Fundamentally, I can see the foundation of what is being laid here. And Darko Rajakovic, you do not have to tell me about building houses, man. I know. I get it. I get what you're doing. And this is brilliant. And, you know, what do they say? The night is darkest before the storm. You know, to anyone saying the Raptors are going to be perpetually in the lottery for 3 straight years. No, this win does not move me. It doesn't need to move me. I was never there. You can't move me. I wasn't there. I wasn't even there. I've never said this is going to be a long rebuild. I'm saying 1 year, tank, get back to the playoffs. That's it. There's no tank next year. There's no tank next year. You're not tanking back-to-back years in an all-stars prime. You're not doing that. Once you get your guy, you're out. That's what you're doing. You're probably like, shoot, you might go the other way. You might trade that Indiana pick for something more immediate to make an immediate splash. The Raptors want to be relevant. The market is tanking. The economy is bad right now. You cannot afford to be a bad team in a bad market. It's tough. Like, it's really tough. Oh, believe me. Oh, believe me. I would rather have AJ DeBonsa over even Cooper Flag. However, that is not in the cards for the Raptors unless they trade for like a Charlotte unprotected pick and LaMelo Ball is done for the season or something like that. Like, it's just it's a very, very unlikely thing. But that being said, yes, I would do everything in my power at this trade deadline to acquire additional draft capital for the 2026 draft. Probably not going to get you AJ DeBonsa, but I would just be betting on unprotected firsts. Every chance I can get, unprotected. I just want as many unprotected 2026 firsts as I can possibly get, even if that means potentially moving off of a protected 2028 first. I would look at it. Am I missing anyone to cheers? Is there anyone else that I need to cheers? Did I cheers Scottie Barnes? Wow. Should I? Did I? Okay. Cheers to Scottie Barnes and to Brian Macon and to all the people around Scottie and to his family and just generally to the people around him who've raised him, coached him. You know, it's such a cool thing what he's been doing. And it's funny because people don't realize it. I want to share something with y'all that might change your opinion a little bit on Scottie and what he's been doing. I'm not that this community really needs to be converted, but
Toronto just brings that culture out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, big Toronto thing, they love vintage.
First of all, congratulations to Scottie Barnes for being one of the few Americans in world history who can actually say Toronto correctly. It took me 4 years to learn how to say Toronto, so Scottie Barnes smarter than me. Okay, and I want to show this. This is something that I was looking up, I think, yesterday, and I love, the data. I love the data because it can sometimes cut through the narrative, but I like data when it's supported by the eye test. Now, everyone's been talking about Scottie Barnes cooking in the mid-range, being better off the dribble, but how much better? How much better are we talking about? So I looked up the best pull-up jump shooters in the NBA per second spectrum, and this blew my mind. So the 40 highest volume, so there's nobody on here who's not a high volume player, okay? These are among the 40 highest volume three-point shooters, highest volume pull-up shooters from both 3 and 2 in the NBA. These are the only 19 who shoot above 40%. Some of these names are not going to surprise you. Shea, Brandon Ingram, Devin Booker, Cam Thomas, DeMar DeRozan. When we think about these players, we literally we're thinking about their scoring package. We're like, yo, this is what a scorer is. These are the bucket getters in the NBA. And if you're noticing, there ain't one here like, okay, Luka leads the league in attempts, but he's below 40%, so arbitrarily misses this. But when you look at the list, if you look at the complete list of the top 40 names, in terms of that, hold on, I'll tell you who is actually at the very, very top. 1 second here. It is. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I should have pulled this up. So, the very, very top: Luka, LaMelo, Shea, Anthony Edwards, Brandon Ingram, James Harden, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Maxey, Cam Thomas, Devin Booker, DeMar DeRozan, Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell. Okay, are you seeing the trend? You're seeing the trend, right? The trend is basically all elite perimeter scorers are typically great pull-up jump shooters. Okay, so again, this is the list of players above 40%. Shea, Brandon Ingram, Devin Booker, Cam Thomas, DeMar DeRozan, Jalen Brunson, Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, Cade Cunningham, Kevin Durant, Paolo Banchero in 8 games, but eight attempts on 48% is absolute madness. Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Zach LaVine, Tyler Hero, Darius Garland, Jalen Williams, Scottie Barnes, and Norman Powell. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Over the last 10 games, that volume and efficiency is actually going up. The last 15 games, it's going up too. The volume on the last 15 games between Cade and Scottie has closed marginally. 6.9 attempts on 44.4% shooting. Again, for his work, for what Cade is doing, he's being talked about as all-star lock, potentially all-NBA, potentially Supermax, clearing the 2021 draft. But I'll remind you that this time last year, Scottie Barnes was having the exact same stuff being said about him. And I want to prove it to you. Listen to this.
Draft yet.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, this
again,
year there will be potentially 2.
I'm not sure that that's true. I think there's some contenders to be all-stars.
Now you're saying Wagner and Şengün are the 2, I would assume.
I said Wagner.
I like Franz a lot, but he ain't going to be an all-star this year.
I don't think he will be. No.
So
Scottie Barnes, I think is going to be an all-star this
Okay.
year.
You do?
I do.
You think the Raptors are getting an all-star this year?
Have you looked at what Scottie Barnes is doing?
Yes, I'm very well aware of what he's doing.
Our colleague, The Machine, a couple of weeks ago, had Scottie Barnes as an all-star starter this year.
Well, you and I know that that's not happening.
Well, I know he's not going to start, but if you look at the competition in the Eastern Conference, I think he's pretty clearly the 4th forward as of now, or the 4th frontcourt player. He's been tremendous.
I'm not prepared. I don't have enough research to say that. He's averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and shooting 49% for a bad team. That's good, but it's not like demanding his way into the start.
Sure, but he's been really good. And Alperen Şengün has also been really good.
Absolutely.
And has a shot in the West. I think he's got a harder road to an all-star spot than Barnes, but I think he's got a shot.
So that's where we were 12 months ago. That's what was being said about 22-year-old Scottie Barnes. What's being said about 23-year-old Scottie Barnes, who's a better player than this player. Easily a better player. Better defender, better athlete, better shooter, better everything. Just shooting cold from outside, yes, but it's just a better scorer, better ball handler, better passer. Come on. That was what was being said 12 months ago. Where are these people? The Raptors lose a little bit. Suddenly everyone's trash. Everyone's losing. No. Just beat the Boston Celtics. Smoke it. Okay. Let's go to Davion Mitchell post game. If you want to call in, call in. If you don't, that's cool. Perfectly fine handling this one solo. Okay. Going to hear from Davion as well as RJ Barrett.
Davion, defensively, you guys have been really good the last couple games, but specifically you have tightened up in the 4th quarter, just 15 points for Boston tonight. What do you feel like has kind of taken you guys to another level lately?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just all connected. We're helping for one another. We're covering for one another. Even if we get beat, We're not just team. We're not just. I feel like at the beginning of the year, if it was got beat, it was just like a wide open layup or a wide open three. No one's covering for one another, and that's not what really good defensive teams do. So, I mean, I think we did a really good job even from last game with the Warriors covering for one another. We watched film, cleaned some stuff up, and we kind of talked about Boston. I mean, they're a really good team. They're gonna generate closeouts. They're gonna get by you. They got superstars, so we just kind of help one another. I think that's what we did.
Where do you think your team is halfway through the year?
Say it again.
Where do you think you are halfway through the year?
What you mean?
The team, you're 41 games in.
Yeah.
Are you where you want to be? Are you good, bad, average?
I mean, I don't think ever in the season where we want to be. I feel like there's always room for improvement. Of course, we don't want a record like this. We lost a lot of close games, got blown out a couple times, but I mean, I feel like we're learning. We got a really young team. We got a lot of rookies. We got a lot of people that wasn't on the team last year. A lot of these teams are playing with teams that are playing with each other with chemistry. So we just got to be more kind of like more perfect than them because they know each other tendencies. They cover for one another. They play with one another for a couple years, and we just kind of just started this year. So, I mean, like I said before, it's never a time where we're comfortable and settled. So we're going to keep getting better.
How much was that New Year's Eve game on your mind going into game today?
New Year's Eve game. Who do we play?
Boston.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I even told him, like, bro, we owe them. We're not just going to just get blown out and just lay down just because they're a really good team, just because they won a championship. No, we're going to make a push even harder. We're going to be more physical. I'm kind of glad I got those 2 fouls at the beginning. Kind of just set the tone. Like, we're going to be physical throughout this game. Like, they can't call every foul. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing about people don't understand. Like, they can't call everyone. We're going to be physical, and we're just going to be the more hard play team. I think that's what we did.
The pace of the NBA is hard for really young players. You're a veteran on the team with a lot of rookies and sophomores who get tired.
For sure.
How do you get untired when there's always more games coming?
There's never a time where you're not tired. I feel like if you are, you're not playing your hardest. And if you're not playing your hardest on this team, it shows because we have a lot of young guys. We have people that are playing hard. You got Scottie Barnes, who's one of the best players on our league. He's playing extremely hard. So how can you not go your hardest? You know what I'm saying? So that's what people got to look at it, bro. Like rookies, they're supposed to get tired. They only played, 28 games in college. 82 is tough with all the traveling, all the practices, the individual workouts. It's going to be tough. But I think they're going to get used to it. I mean, especially guys on our team, like they're going to be in the league for a really long time.
Is that something that you trust guys figure out, or do you actually communicate that to the guys on the team?
No, I mean, I think you got to let them figure it out. I mean, just because, they got to do the little things. You got to sleep at night. You got to take care of your body, like things like that would help you get that one step of not being tired. But yeah, it's like things they got to figure out. Yeah.
Davion, the majority of the season, you guys were dealing with a lot of injuries, and now you guys are majority healthy again. Yeah. How do you see, especially this week, your team's identity taking shape?
Just getting to know each other, playing with our full strength. I mean, granted, we missed an IQ, but playing with most of our players, kind of getting that chemistry. We know where people want the ball at. We're not just all over the place. I think we just kind of building that chemistry game by game. You see it every game. There's all some type of connection with RJ, with Scottie, with Yacht and me, with like other things like that. Like you see with Kelly and Bruce, like little connections that's going to help us generate those little points that a lot of teams can't stop because we're really good and we get to know each other. So, I mean, I think we're doing a really good job with that.
Your role has fluctuated a little bit lately in and out of the rotation for a bit. Was that hard for you, not knowing for sure when you're going to play, how much you're going to play, and how much has the consistency of the last few games kind of helped you get back into rhythm?
No, I wouldn't say it's hard. I mean, just because like they told me before, it's not like I went to the game thinking I'm playing and I don't play. I think that's the toughest part. But when they tell me before, I know how hard I can go. Like I can go shoot at night because I'm not playing the next day, or I can get extra shots after practice. So I know I'm not playing the next day. So it's just like little things like that. I always stay ready, but they tell me before, so it's not really hard for me because at the end of the day, I'm just getting better. Like I'm going playing with coaches. I brought my trainer out here, Dre Brown. He came out here and worked me out. But with coaches every day, I'm playing 4-on-4 just to keep my reads and just stay in shape. Little things like that, like that's going to help me get better. And at the end of the day, if I got to cheer for my teammate, that's what I'm going to do. And if they need me, I'm there.
Darko's been pretty good about communicating that stuff.
1,000%. The whole organization has been really good about it, and I mean, I respect them for telling me. There's been times where no one has told me before, and I don't work out because no one's told me, and that's the one that makes me mad because like I could have like put extra work in, but it's all good.
RJ, Darko was here saying like, you know, it's
Okay, let me pause this just to say one quick thing. This is what I'm talking about with Darko Rajakovic and this organization from top to bottom. Class 1, Class A organization. Class B, fine. You know, record, Class B, right? Process, whatever, C. Reputation, whatever, slander in the USA. Fuck it, okay? This is what I'm talking about. Darko Rajakovic making sure that even his 15th, 16th, and 17th guys are being communicated to, are being prepared, are being developed, even if they are on the block. He wants these players to be good. I'm gonna tell you something. How you treat the people you don't need tells me everything about who you are as a human being. Make that as a note for the rest of your life. How you treat the person who is below you. I don't want to say below you or above you, but we understand company and hierarchy and all that stuff. What's that quote? I think it was Tom Hardy who said it. The actor Tom Hardy who said, "I was taught to treat the garbage man the same way as the CEO," or something like that. It was some quote alluding to something like that. I'm the same way. I'm the same way, and I respect people who do that. You keep good energy with me. I'm gonna keep good energy with you. It doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter if you have $1 billion, $1 million. If you're super chatting $100, you're super chatting $2. That doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter if you can give me something or get something from me. How many times did we see Nick Nurse throw his bench under the bus, throw Gary under the bus? Because Nick Nurse knew. Nick Nurse knew my guys are these guys, and these other guys, what are they? I'm not trying to necessarily go at Nick Nurse here, but there's a difference. See, Darko has a process-based, ethos-based mentality towards this. Now, I'm not speaking for Darko. I'm not the Darko whisperer. I certainly don't speak for him. But this is what I've come to understand about Darko. He is going to coach every single player as a personal project to make them better. He showed me everything I needed to know about him with how he coached OG Anunoby and Malachi Flynn up until the minute they were traded, the way he treated them, the way he coached them, the way he continued to speak so well of Pascal Siakam, even though I felt honestly that Pascal Siakam was not boxing out, wasn't setting hard screens, wasn't buying into the offense very much. OG, you know, all those allegations of soft quitting on the Raptors, you know, defensively in his last week. Never heard anything from Darko. Never even heard a sidestep. And believe me, I'm very attuned to code speak when coaches kind of jab at players. It'd be nice if OG played defense like he was playing a month ago. Would have been something that I think a snippy coach who was a little upset with a player on his way out might have said. He never said that. Instead, you saw Darko even a month before or a couple weeks before OG was traded, when it was obvious that he was going to be traded and the Raptors were tearing it down. He was working with OG on his finishes. This is why when Darko Rajakovic was hired, Desmond Bane spoke so glowingly about the impact Darko had on him. This is why if you talk to Mikal Bridges, he will tell you straight up, this coach changed his life. This is a very special person. You may doubt his X's and O's. I do not. But never ever doubt the person, because this is who he is. That's his third string point guard, Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell might get traded. And you know what? Let me issue also a apology to Davion. I certainly don't have any hate in my heart for Davion. I've never had hate in my heart for Davion. But I think early in the season, because of how the media was covering him, some of what I said about him could come off as like very, very spiteful, petty, and a little bit hateful. And I just want to make it clear to both Davion and his camp and everybody who's kind of come at me with this. I don't hate Davion. I'm rooting for Davion. I'm happy for Davion. I love his energy. I love the fact that he continues to work. I love his interview that he just gave. It's great energy, very positive, very humble. So I'm rooting for you, Davion Mitchell. Absolutely. All right, RJ Barrett, your turn.
pretty impressive in terms of tone setting when you and Scottie combined for 17 assists. Like it's just, was that a focus going in just to get the ball moving, or how does that shake out?
Yeah, I mean, trying to get 30 plus assists every night is a goal. Trying to play basketball the right way, and I feel like we did that tonight.
How much did you guys collectively as a team have the New Year's Eve game in Boston on your mind going into this game today?
That a game like that always sticks with you, especially when you lose in such fashion like that. So we brought good energy tonight. We came in, we fought hard from the beginning of the game, all the way through. So that was just a great 48 minutes of basketball.
What have you liked about the way you guys have defended, specifically at the end of the last two games, the fourth quarters, where it seems like you guys have really tightened up?
I mean, you were able to see it just even a couple games before these last two. We were playing hard. They were hard fought games, and I always say, like, when you're in close games like that, you'll be able to start figuring it out. And I think the last two games, that's what you see. Just playing hard and being smart, understanding time and score and what to do when and how to play it.
You were pretty vocal in here. I don't even know what game that was. A couple weeks ago after a bad loss.
Milwaukee.
Yes, you remember that. Is there something as a team, do you think, after that game that kind of clicked? Because it does seem like even from a compete level standpoint, it's like night and day after that point.
I think a game like that, when that was our first time everybody being together, and to lose like that, I think that kind of woke everybody up, a little bit. And since then, we've been playing hard and playing together, and we've gotten better.
How impressed were you with Scottie's mid-air behind the back pass to Jakob?
That was very tough. I already watched it a couple times. It was tough.
Why is winning important in a rebuilding season?
What type of question is that?
Why is it important for you guys to win games and build? How will that help you down the line?
It's the point. That's why we're here. That's why we're here, is to win. Rebuild or not, the goal is to win, and part of rebuilding is to get to a point where you're winning again. So you try to win every single time you're out there on the floor, no matter what.
First question.
Oui, Dieu, félicitations pour la victoire, 2 victoires de suite. Qu'est-ce qui marche pour le moment, surtout pour bien terminer le match en 4e quart-temps, pour garder le cap, pour bien terminer? Qu'est-ce qui marche pour le moment?
Qu'est-ce qui marche? Tout le monde joue bien. Tout le monde joue. Ça c'est tout. Tout le monde joue bien.
Et moi, je voulais te poser une question sur la défense, collectivement et individuellement. Il y a beaucoup mieux depuis quelques matchs. Qu'est-ce qui a été amélioré? Qu'est-ce qui a changé de manière collective? Et même toi, individuellement, qu'est-ce que tu as amélioré?
Quand toute l'équipe, on joue comme ça, c'est bien pour tout le monde. Tout le monde est content, tout le monde est excité, et tu peux voir ça quand on joue. Alors, je sais que ça, c'est la réponse.
You got to be pretty happy. Look at the way the ball was moving last night, especially Scottie and RJ combining, I think, 17 assists. That's kind of sets the tone for you right there.
Yes, I mean, we did really good job of moving the ball. 35 assists as a team tonight. It's a big emphasis on what we're trying to do, and we took 22 threes in the first half. Another thing that we talked about that we need to get more. I thought that there were a couple more situations in the second half that we could get some more open looks there. But overall, really happy with the performance of the team tonight.
Defensively, you seem to have you're on a string all night. What sort of clicked tonight, do you think, for your defensive team?
You know what? It was a tough loss for us in Boston. And guys coming back. We're getting our health back. This group is very connected and very prideful group. So we really wanted to go out there and compete on the highest level. That's what we can do at this point. And all of the guys, everybody who touched the floor, they really contributed tonight, and everybody had that energy. I thought we did a good job on defensive end, making their shots, heavy and contested shots. We did not make it easy on Tatum or White. Grady just told me, who was guarding Derek White. He takes pride of playing good defense tonight as well.
When Davion's out there and he gets, right on the other guy's shirt, does it sort of carry over to the rest of the guys on the court?
Yo, Doug Smith, who the hell is Davion, bro? Davion? What? Man, Doug Smith, retire, bro.
For sure. I mean, first player on defense, first line of defense, first player who is guarding the ball, he sets the tone for everybody else. If you have very aggressive defense there, he's going to trickle down on everybody else because other 4 players are looking in front. And when you have that kind of defense and predisposition, that's going to make everybody else play with the same effort.
In terms of the defense, second game in a row now where you guys have really tightened up in the fourth, just 15 points for Boston in the fourth. What have you liked about the way that your team has defended later in the game, close things up?
I mean, it just sticking with our principles, doing it with more detail, with more force. Communication was really good. Guys were able to get on the same page and execute on a high level.
I'm sure there are people who are looking ahead down the road and might say this, prefer other results from this team. Why is winning important for this team for the long-term future, like winning games?
Oh my God. Who is this bum ass motherfucker? I need to know who is asking this question. What? Yo. What? What? Who are you? Show yourself.
Like this.
Is that Aaron Rose? Like openly asking a coach after he won against the Boston Celtics, asking players after he won the Boston Celtics, what about the tank? Bro, what is wrong with you? Are you tone deaf? Are you insensitive? Are you that insensitive? I mean, I'm pretty insensitive, but this is like next level. Where are your social cues? Where are your manners? What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Everything we do over here is about winning. We want to win championships. We want to win and compete in every single game. You need to develop that character. I think how you compete night in and night out, that builds the culture. It's building the culture this season, and it's going to trickle down in the future when we are ready to compete for championships as well.
Coach, can you talk about what goes into having a very successful ball sharing movement? 35 assists with like less turnovers, like tonight was.
Okay, whoever asked this first question, pay attention to this question. This is a good question, you dumbass. 35 assists, good, great question.
Turnovers. What clicks? What makes that work?
I mean, guys are starting to get a little bit more time with the same group of guys on the court. It's not changing that much. There is a little bit of more continuity. So there is more familiarity with each other when teammates going to be on a court. What are we doing? How we need to execute? And it comes down also willingness of our team. I mean, when you have Scottie Barnes and RJ Barrett with 17 assists, that sets the tone for everybody else.
You mentioned the threes kind of falling off in the second half, and that happened in the game against the Warriors too. I think you guys took 23 of your 29 threes in that game in the first half. Obviously, that didn't hurt you. You won both games, but I'm wondering what you're seeing in terms of why maybe there's that big a discrepancy in volume from the first half to the second.
You know, we made shots in the first half. They were playing more aggressive. They were more aggressive on their closeouts. And I thought that we did a better job in the second half of attacking those closeouts. One of our goals in this game was to create closeouts and to have right reads. If they're short closing out, to be able to shoot it. But if they're really aggressive, which was the case in the second half, to be able to turn the corner and make from there.
Seems like Scottie's mid-range was working again tonight. Do you feel like the scouting report's starting to adapt to that? And how do you think he's reacting to what the defense is doing to him when he's in that mid-range?
I mean, it's hard. He has great length. He does a good job of protecting the ball. He's capable to get to his spot on the floor and to shoot over people. I think he's finding really, really good balance of being aggressive and taking it all the way to the rim, but also reading the defense. I mean, there are opportunities to get to his sweet spot and shoot over defense as well.
Okay, that was great. That was great. Apart from that stupid ass person asking the same stupid ass question from every single person who just won a game. Like, bro, sometimes you can just tell. I'm not saying, I was some D1 athlete or whatever. I get that. But I played competitive sports in high school. 4 different teams. Okay. So I was a 4-sport athlete. Not particularly great at any one sport, but good enough at tennis, good enough at basketball. Does chess count? Can I count chess? No, that probably doesn't count. That doesn't count towards my jock cred. But if I had just put my guts on the line, competed as hard as I had, and won a game, and someone asked me if winning was even relevant, I might actually get up and punch that person in the face. That's infuriating. That's actually infuriating. Save those questions for the off season. Save those questions for, and that comment earlier is super, super telling. Where was it? Where we go? There we go. Hang on one sec. This comment by Andrew. I love this comment. We lose to the Celtics, media complains. We beat the Celtics, media complains. Fire. There's no pleasing these people. There's no pleasing these people. There's no pleasing these people. They are miserable. They are just miserable. I thought the Raptors played brilliantly tonight. I did. I think part of it was Celtics, bailing out the Raptors and, taking too many threes. I thought the Celtics didn't play great defense. I don't think they competed extremely hard defensively. But please understand, at full strength, there's a gap between these two teams. There's a gap in maturity, maturation, experience, connectivity, continuity. There's a gap, of course, in skill and talent and overall how much money is being paid to these two teams. There is a huge gap in age. There is a gap in size. There's a gap in strength. The Celtics are a bigger team than you. They're a better shooting team than you. They're a better defensive team than you. They're a more experienced team than you. Frankly, there is no competition. If the Raptors were exceeding my wildest expectations and were on pace for a 42-win season and competing in the playoffs, the Celtics would still be a significantly better team. Right? So, Lance Scott saying the parlays, though, the parlays. Well, let me say this. The Raptors have been catching a lot of slander from a lot of different fan bases, and I'm pretty sure that because of how prevalent sports betting is, that a lot of people probably bet Celtics today. Maybe Celtics under 14, whatever. And y'all lost. Y'all lost. Vegas won everything tonight. Unfortunately, y'all lost. And you know what? Hating on the Raptors. If you were a Raptor hater prior to this, the Raptors cooked your parlay. I'm happy for that. I do want to say one thing, because the correct term last chat, someone brought it up in the comments, was cognitive dissonance. When you do something that feels morally against something else. So there is an element of cognitive dissonance where I was saying I was rooting for the lottery balls specifically, but yet I'm so staunchly against ever promoting sports gambling on this show. Today on the panel, I was asked to make 3 picks because the panel is sponsored by a betting company and I wanted to be a team player. So I did. I did it. And, I talked to my girlfriend about it. Afterwards, I talked to a friend about it and I said, am I breaking my moral code by doing this? Because I know how good I am at what I do. I know how well I read the game, and yet I don't support the idea of sports gambling. I don't support the business of sports gambling. I certainly don't support the predatory nature of these companies. So I was asked for 3 picks. I picked Paolo over 4.5 rebounds, Peyton Pritchard over 11.5 points, and Scottie Barnes over 5.5 assists. I don't think, to my recollection, the panel has ever hit on a single parlay or a single bet ever. If anything, the panel has become an advocation for why you should never gamble, because they never hit. That bet hit in the third quarter. It hit. So L sports gambling, L parlays, but W Raptors. W Raptors. We the North saying Scottie continues to make passes that just impress me. On time, on target, eyes in the back of his head. Agreed. Zell saying L gambling, W God. Yes. Daniel. Rob, what improvements have you seen from our defense these past 2 games? It's a good question. This will never happen. This is never going to happen. That's what this is never going to turn into. And this is why I don't do it. I have a friend of mine who is responsible and an adult, and I know he doesn't have a gambling addiction. And so if he ever asks me for, some advice or whatever, I'm perfectly fine giving it to him. I don't feel like I'm breaking my relationship with God or breaking my relationship with morality to do that. I'm obviously very, very good at this, but no, that's never going to happen. Anyways, Daryl, in my opinion, it's the same as playing along with the Cheers game today when I'm fundamentally against alcohol culture. That's exactly it. Again, like I had a lot of conflicting thoughts because, I have been so staunchly against this. Gambling companies will never be, Pendants will never be us. Pendants will never be sponsored by a gambling company. I said Films will never be sponsored by a gambling company. We're never going to be sponsored by a gambling company on this. And apparently, all my saying that did was invite gambling companies to up the ante even more. So they offered more money, and it actually does test your ethics when you're struggling. Like property tax went up this year. The dollar went down. Stock portfolio did okay this year. Property value went down. Property tax went up. Mortgage rate went up. Interest rates went up. Maintenance fees skyrocketed by $220 for us this year. Carbon tax, the economy's in the shitter. When one of those companies messages and says, we're going to give you $2,500 to support XYZ company per month, you're like, that's doubling my YouTube revenue. Like, it feels like a godsend when it comes, but I know that it's the devil's money and I won't do it. Right? So that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is stay true to whatever helps you sleep at night, man. Whatever you got to do. When the panel decided to be sponsored by the company that they're sponsored by, I told them privately, I said, listen, I'm very, very against sports gambling. I don't know how I'm going to fare in these situations. And then I realized this is my company, but I know that company specifically cannot be played in Ontario. So my core audience cannot play that company. And the second thing I noticed was this is not my promotion. I'm not getting money for this. So, I don't know. And plus that the panel audience hates me. So if I ever pick a parlay thing for them and they lose money, I'm almost like kind of like, all right, whatever, suckers. But yeah. Anyways, James saying economy going down. Yeah, the sky is blue. I thought the Raptors played very well tonight. Let me be honest. Like, and the question originally was what has changed in the Raptors defense? Well, number one, there seems to be at least more of a compete level on the point of attack. There seems to be a lot more energy. In fact, the number one thing I noticed today was that there was a lot more verve to how players were moving around the court. The Raptors were moving faster than the Celtics. If you've ever seen a team play sharp, consistently sharp basketball, I'm thinking back to, playing in high school against like a team like West Hill or Eastern Commerce. Those teams were sharp. They moved with purpose. They moved with energy. They cut with purpose. They boxed out with purpose. Everything was physical. Everything was very precise. It was called execution. They executed well. On the screen, on the pick and roll, the screen was set hard. The roll was made properly, accurately. There was a lot of focus to detail. When you play basketball like that, you give yourself a shot to win. I'm not saying you win every game. Obviously, the playoffs are played like that. One team always loses. That's the nature of basketball. But the Raptors played like a team with purpose tonight. They cut with purpose. They passed with purpose. They executed well, right? Defensively, it just, a lot of it does come down to how many rotations the Raptors are forced to make with the quality of the defenders that they have. And, you know, shout outs to the gentleman who sent an e-transfer the other week for, you know, on January 1st or December 31st. And he had sent an e-transfer for a video on the Raptors defense, which I have been very, very lagging, but thankfully completed today after very, 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 you know, trying 2 weeks, you know, my dog passing away and all of the pendants build up and being on the panel multiple times last week, 3 times. It's like 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, plus doing the post games. It's a lot. And I just didn't have time for it. And I'm glad to have finally finished it. And one of the things that you notice with the Raptors defense is there's so many decisions that the Raptors have to make correctly, right? So even when I talk about the defensive breakdown today, like one player doesn't rotate, the whole thing falls apart. Now, defenses fall apart all the time. They do. They miscue. They chase someone off the 3-point line. They jump on a pump fake, get faked out of their shoes. They get beat off the dribble. Defenses are designed to fail because offenses are designed to succeed. And at that point, it just comes down to talent, right? If you have a Victor Wembanyama or a Walker Kessler at the rim, it's going to clean up some stuff. If you have a very actively engaged Herb Jones or Scottie Barnes on the wing, it's going to clean up some stuff. If you have a switchable, you know, point of attack defender who can guard at the rim, it might clean up some stuff. So the whole thing about defense is always about recovery. It's about how well you recover when you're beat, and you're going to get beat a lot. Jason Tatum gets beat off the bounce. Davion Mitchell gets beat off the bounce. Kudos to him for walling up against Peyton Pritchard, but he got cooked by Peyton Pritchard a couple times too. So it just comes down to how well you recover and how you communicate. The Raptors don't communicate well, right? Today, there was that blow by, right, where Scottie pressed up really, really hard on Jason Tatum. I appreciate the energy, but that's not smart basketball. But then Bruce Brown is supposed to cut off that drive, and he runs away from the drive, which leaves Chris Boucher one-on-one with Jason Tatum going towards the rim, and he's forced to foul, but the foul is not called. It's like, how many places did that defense break down? Number one, Scottie's too high. You don't need to pressure Jason Tatum 45 feet from the basket or 40 feet from the basket. He's going to destroy you. Number two, because honestly, any all-star superstar with 40 feet or 45 feet of space is going to have a lot of room to dance and lose you, especially someone with a compact and you know, at least effective handle like Jason Tatum. He's going to beat you off the dribble. So I appreciate the pressure, but you pressure in a late clock situation. You have to know time and score. You have to understand the context. You have to understand the player. Maybe you pressure Sam Hauser, right? Because you trust your quickness and your length to recover if he beats you. But if Jason Tatum gets a step past you, he's gone, right? If Anthony Edwards or John Morant get a step past you, the Raptors are guarding superstars like they're role players. They're ignoring shooters consistently. They're late rotating all the time. So while I will say that it's not like their defense was perfect tonight by any means, the Celtics missed a lot of open shots. They were just terrible. The Celtics shot themselves in the foot twice. One, they played with zero toughness. They just did not play with force. Okay, I've seen the Celtics dialed in. I saw them in the playoffs last year dialed in. I've said it for 2 years. This is a team that plays with their food. This is a team that has a lot of hubris. This is a team that is deeply unprofessional when they don't want to play. They really play like ass. They're not the 96. They're not the 96 Bulls. They're not the 91, the 89 Pistons. They're not the 08 Celtics. They are not the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. I mean, I'm not saying every team doesn't have a stinker, but to respond to what happened against New Orleans and come out and lose on the road to the Raptors as you play this feckless, gross brand of basketball, that's gross. That's gross. The OKC Thunder would never. The OKC Thunder would never. And therein lies who's your leader? Who is your leader? And I'm not saying Jason Tatum's not tough, and I'm not saying Jaylen Brown's not tough, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is built a little bit different. He's built Canadian. So, I don't know. I think, you win a championship, people invent narratives about why you won that championship and pretend that there was no way you weren't going to win that championship. I say if Luka's healthy in the finals, maybe you don't win that championship. right? So I think there's just a professional effort that needs to be exhibited if you're a defending champion, and attitude reflects leadership. And I did not like what has happened to Celtics tonight. We give the Raptors a lot of credit. They had to execute. They had to outcompete this team. They had to want to win. And credit to Scottie Barnes in the fourth quarter. Credit to RJ Barrett throughout the game. That these guys dissected the defense. We heard over and over the Raptors don't have a traditional point guard, as if that's what Immanuel Quickley is. Okay, cool. He's not, but okay. Apparently, we're playing without a traditional point guard, guys. Jamal Shed's not a traditional point guard. Davion's not a traditional point guard. Scottie's not a traditional point guard, according to Alvin Williams. Cool. Alvin Williams, you were not a traditional point guard, bro. That's why you're always saying that shit, because you weren't a traditional point guard. Alvin was not a traditional point guard. Alvin was a combo guard who played point. I remember his career very well, starting in Portland, right? But nevertheless, whatever. I digress. The Raptors played tougher tonight. They got on the glass. They competed in the gaps. Scottie was incredible defensively. I think his energy was great. Boxing out, communicating. He was so loud. He was so vocal. If you were at the game, you could definitely co-sign this, I think. Right? I got to say that Detroit didn't even come close to winning against Boston once. They lost all 3 games this season against Boston. Sure, Detroit almost beat Boston last year, though, in fairness, with Bogdanovich and Cade going nuts in the fourth quarter. And Detroit did beat us. So, whatever. Anyway, a good day if you're a Raptor fan, I guess. It doesn't move the tank odds too much, but we will certainly check it. How it has moved. The Raptors are now 10-31. Utah is 10-29. So the Raptors have moved from potentially being second tonight, which is what they would have been had they lost, all the way to fourth. Cool. And someone saying Yak got the chain. I'm not sure if Yak deserved the chain, but he played really well. Maybe he just hasn't won the chain yet. So okay. So, I mean, we'll sim this until the Raptors win. Yep. I'm getting sadder. Okay, that took a lot of spins. That took a lot of spins. That took way too many spins. Okay, back to losing now, guys. Come on. Come on. We can do it. We can do it. Okay. Bueno Kitty saying, what the fuck? What's with all the sixths? Well, that if you want to look at the odds again, yeah. Spooky Ghost Rider saying 13 times. Ouch. Yeah, I tried it a few days ago, a few times, and I tried it a week ago. I've never had to spin this many times to get the Raptors the first pick other than today. Every other time it was within third, fourth, or fifth try. One time it was within the first try. So yeah, that's what happens when you move down a little bit. Your odds start to go down, and yeah, you move from 14% to 12.5% odds at number one. It's obviously not to say you can't get it, but the odds of you potentially moving down to 6, 7 potentially now suddenly exists. So yeah. Mike P saying the Pels 1-2. Yeah, that's the good news for the Raptors. The bad news is Charlotte looks to be tearing it down. Also, they traded Nick Richards for Josh Okogie. I have an interesting thing to say about that. I actually think Josh Okogie is a better player than Nick Richards, and they added 3 second-round picks. So Phoenix is just crazy. I don't know. Deshaun Wave saying, don't forget the Hawks got one. Yeah, and don't forget that guy from Idaho won a lottery. Dude, you don't aim to be ninth. I mean, the team that's ninth has 4.5% chance at number one. That's less than 1 in 20. 1 in 20, 1 in 21. Those are the chances you want going into the draft. 1 in 21. You could have 1-6. You want to go 1-21? I don't know. Some people have trouble with odds. I've noticed that. But yes, you want to get higher on the screen. You want to get higher in these odds. But you know, we talked about the pathways and the doorways for the Raptors. And I said, what I don't want is this team beating up on meaningless teams like Charlotte, Washington, and then getting hype and then starting to go all in. This is when the season was still salvageable. This is when the Raptors were like, I don't know, 4-10 or whatever the hell they were at that time, right? So this is when I thought things could still turn around. I'm like, look, there are the 3 doors we can go down, either, you know, bottom out or beat competitive teams or do the worst thing, which is beat crappy teams. The Celtics are not a crappy team. Golden State Warriors may have played poorly against us. They're not a crappy team. And in the end, all these young players that are playing in these games, they just beat the defending champions. Right? I mean, I'm not putting this team in conversations with the 96 Bulls. But y'all remember to this day, we still talk about the fact that the expansion era Raptors beat that team? It's a big deal. The Boston Celtics are one of the best road teams in the league. I think they were 17-4 coming into today. Right? Zal saying, damn, come on, Malawach is the answer to the Wemby problem. He might be. I don't know if he's the answer. I'm very, very high on Wemby, but sure. Jay Powell was saying, Rob, John D did a draft video recently. Raptors got first pick. He gave you a shout out. Appreciate that. Appreciate at the Buzzer Sports. Happy he got monetized. Happy that he's grinding. He's a really cool content creator, and y'all should definitely go check him out. And if you haven't already, do check out the video that John D and I did on the draft. We will definitely do more draft videos after Penn Dance has subsided a little bit. And I've recovered from the work that goes into Penn Dance. A lot of work is going into this year's festival. We are having potentially an opening gala, a closing gala, about 60 films at the festival. We're probably hosting around 35 to 40 international guests. It's going to be lit. It's going to be great. There's a record number of Canadian films, a record number of Black directors, a record number of sports films. There's a film about hockey and a film about basketball. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. Penn Dance is going to be the best. I have a feeling, actually, I have a guarantee. Penn Dance is going to be the best Penn Dance ever. I can't wait. Ticket link is in the description below for a couple more days. The all access pass is at a discount. After that, the tickets will go on sale very, very soon. Oh, at the Buzzer Sports. That's so funny. Yo, appreciate you, man. I didn't know you were watching. That's super cool. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one. Peace. Smoke your Raptor packs tonight. The Raptors win. And yes. Zal, meet John D. This is John D at the Buzzer Sports. Zal saying, my favorite dynamic on the panel is Penn and Ox. Laugh my ass off. My favorite dynamic of the man. Denel saying, you don't even sound comfortable saying lit, low bro. That makes you feel like a big man. That dude was wild. Oh, Elijah. Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. I was just thinking, I'm like, did I just say lit? I don't remember saying lit. Anyways, talk to y'all later. Have a great night. There we go. Yeah, I was just like, wait. Penny Hardaway? What? Okay. Also, apologize for stammering a little bit earlier. I don't know what was happening there. I think yesterday I noticed, because I haven't been sleeping too much, I've been doing a lot of the programming for Penn Dance, and I noticed something really strange, and I was freaking out for like a good hour. I showed my girlfriend this too. So every time I would move my eyebrows up like that, when I would try to move my face down, my face would get stuck. And I thought I had Bell palsy. That was wild. Like, for real. And then, yeah, and turns out I just hadn't slept. I had not slept. Did Rob betray the Knicks? Which Rob? Me? Not Donald Fagen. Rob's American accent comes out when he gets pissed like that. Yo, I don't even know what my accent is. I feel like I feel like I code switch, not intentionally or anything, but I feel like there's a way that I talk, and then there's a way that I talk, and it's not even conscious. Like sometimes I'm just, I don't know. Like I would talk to my friends a little bit differently, but then sometimes when I'm on a podcast, I'm trying to sound a little bit more professional. A little bit. I don't know. Okay. Yes, you were a Knicks fan. Yeah, for sure. I love the Knicks. Love, 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 love. Hell, I love the Knicks. You actually talk different on the panel. That might be it. Maybe. That might be an American thing. I don't know. Chilltown is oh, first of all, happy birthday, Chilltown. You got 8 more minutes to go. Chilltown, happy birthday. OG turns, I don't know, probably 50 something today. I don't remember how old he is. I think he's in his 50s. But Chill is so funny because Chill reminds me of my entire childhood. Literally everybody around me talked like that. So it's actually it's been very therapeutic for me to be on the panel in the strangest way. I don't understand it. Six Puzzle saying 235. Bro, he's not 235. Come on. The uneven headset is bugging me. Yo, it's not uneven. I broke my headphones. So it's just like, it should be like this, right? But this thing broke. Yeah. Stop it, Mars. Yeah. Yo, Chill is, yeah. So Chill has all the accent, the vibe, the mannerisms, the vernacular, the way of speaking of pretty much every person that I grew up with. So that was super cool to hear that. I don't know how to explain it, but there's something very, very soothing about it. Got big ears? No. What's wrong with you? No. No, it's not about big ears. It's about the fact that I have to monitor. I have to monitor if this is a call-in show, so I have to be able to hear people. And if I don't have headsets, and I definitely do not have those AirPods or whatever, I refuse. Chilltown from Jersey, right? Yes. So the Jersey accent's a little bit different than the New York accent. However, it's not that far off. Like Philly feels a little bit different. Boston is very different, but everyone's kind of got their own little way of speaking in the tri-state area. Boston is definitely, very distinct and has been made very popular by the movies. But not everybody in New York is talking like those Italians in the movies, but they do a sufficient job of expressing that there's different accents throughout America, right? You meet someone from the South, you meet somebody from Atlanta, you meet someone from Georgia, you meet someone from Carolinas, you meet somebody from, Florida. They're going to speak really differently, right? Scottie speaks differently for sure. So Mars is like a Gen Z Rob. How the hell? What am I? Yo, it's so funny. Sometimes I don't think I'm like Mars, but maybe you're saying that's because we're both into the numbers. Daryl saying, I like how Chill and Mars are like the polar opposites of the basketball spectrum, and then the rest of you guys fill the middle. That's interesting. Today, I was talking about JJ Redick and why JJ Redick should probably be fired, and somebody said that I was exactly like JJ Redick, and this sucks because I've heard this comment about 500 times, and I still don't like JJ Redick, like to this point where I just straight up slandered this dude when he got hired for the y'all remember my reaction when JJ Redick was being talked about in the Raptors podcast? Oh, sorry, for the Raptors coaching position. I was like, hell to the hell, no. Get Jody Fernandez. It's interesting. You know that what was surprising is that the Boston commentators actually do say the Raptors are better than the record suggests. Well, one of the Boston commentators is Brian Scalabrine, right? Dennis Schroeder is better. Yo, shout outs to my man Jordan. Jordan is awesome. I really fuck with Jordan. Like, I think people hate on Jordan, and I don't understand why it is. I've been following Jordan on Drenchman Sports on Instagram for over a year, and I was genuinely shocked out of my mind when the panel hired him. Like, when Players Choice had Jordan on, I had to do a double take, be like, am I losing my mind? Or like, did one of my favorite content creators get with my other, get with Players Choice? And it was really cool. And I had to do a double take. I was like, what is happening here? And then I messaged Ron and I messaged Dave and Ron and all them. And I just said, yo, you did a great job. Like, I think Jordan's fantastic. I know he says some stuff like that some people don't agree with. I don't agree with a lot of stuff, but he's a very basketball obsessed human being. And I respect people who are obsessed with basketball. Like, I respect people who devote the type of time and energy to their craft. That's why I'm telling y'all to go check out At the Buzzer Sports with John D. And why I was trying to plug it today as well. Because, when you meet people who really care about what they're doing, and you want to support them as much as you can, right? And so, yeah, so it's been cool. Like, I may not always agree with Jordan, but it's always two against the rest, because I'm always going to have his back on that stuff, right? Even if I don't agree. And it's the same thing with Chilltown. I may not always agree with Chilltown. Chilltown does some stuff like I'm just like, what? But that's cool. That's between friends. Like, it's okay, right? Zal saying, but you don't show Will Lou and Samson that same. I've shown Samson a lot of love, actually. I have. And he and I have had a lot of back and forths, which have been very, very unpleasant on both sides. But I've shown him a tremendous amount of respect throughout the years. William Lou, no, I have never shown William Lou any support, any love, I've never talked to him. I've never shown him anything at all. Who do you like from the Raptors community? I like myself. Who else do I like? Damn, it's hard. I mean, I was gonna say Louis Zatzman, but then I ripped him for the Davion take, and I would have said Samson, but I'm just kind of over it at this point. I don't know. I like a lot. I like a lot of people who cover the NBA. I don't really like anybody here. That's okay. They don't like me either, and that's cool. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one. It was a cool vibe session at the end. Enjoy your beers.